guys, Nick Adesso Poker here. Thank you for tuning in for this week's episode. And this week we'll be going over a new series that I'm starting called No Limit Texas Hold'em 101. And you guessed it, I'll be teaching the class. I'll be teaching you how to play with my style. So I do a exploitative mixture with GTO style play. GTO is game theory optimal play. That's what you hear all these big time pros using, and that's what I like to use as well. You got to keep up with the times, am I right? And that's what I'm about to teach you. So every week we'll be going over some episodes. They're going to be brief segments that are going to range anywhere from beginner, intermediate to expert level play that I'll be teaching. This week's episode, I'm going to be teaching you a real fun one on the 3 best hands to crack pocket aces with. What a dream. Everybody wants to crack pocket aces. That's how you take all the chips. So let's get into it. Let me go ahead and teach you how to do so. Let's go. Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and get into this video. We're going to be going over the top 3 hands to crack pocket aces. So the important thing to understand is a lot of those premium hands that we all love, they're no good against aces. You know, ace king, ace queen, ace jack, you know, king queen, king jack, queen jack, all those hands, king 10, queen 10, all that stuff, no longer good. You know, all the kings, the queens, the jacks, the 10s, no longer good against aces. The equity just isn't there. The best you're going to get is about 17%. Now, the 3 hands that I like are right behind me, and you're going to get about 22 to 23% equity out of these hands against aces. And the hands that I like are going to go as ranked. Number 3, it's going to be Jack 10 suited. Number 2, it's going to be 8-6 suited. And number 1, my ultimate favorite, that's going to be 7-6 suited. Now, the other important thing to understand is always suited. You don't want to play these hands against a big pair like aces unless they're suited, because it's going to take away a lot of your capabilities to make a flush. And that's the big thing with playing these suited connectors and suited gappers. The one gappers is that you have the straights, you have the flushes, and you also have, you know, the trips, the 2 pairs, all those kind of things that can crack those aces. So the biggest thing are going to be the straights, because when you play through a hand and you have a straight by the river or even by the turn, or if you flop a straight, what the heck, that's definitely a good thing. So if you flop a straight, turn a straight, or river a straight, a lot of the time you're going to get paid off with those aces. So that's the important thing to know. You're going to see here all the different straight combinations for the hands. Now, the reason why I have Jack 10 as number 3 is if you notice here at the bottom we have Queen, King, Ace as one of the combinations of straights that you can have. Well, that one is a great combination for the nut straight, but it is blocked because, again, our opponent has pocket aces. So the likelihood another ace is going to come, not very high. However, if it does, you will stack them because now they have a set, you have a straight, it's going to be a beautiful thing. Then you're going to go over to 8-6. You have a lot of combinations here. And the good thing about 8-6 is that if you hit your straight, a lot of times it's going to be disguised because it's a gap. So, you know, 4-5-7, 5-7-9, those are gapped straights to where, oh, does you really have 8-6? Oh yeah, I have 8-6. That's what you're going to say. So when you get there, you're going to have the 4 cards to a straight. Again, you don't have to worry about a better straight because your opponent has a big pocket pair. So you don't have to worry about that. That's why we have these 4 cards to a straight here, is so that we can still fill in and beat those aces with all those cards on the board. So that's awesome. They take up, 8-6 also takes up a significant part of the board. I mean, look at all these cards, all these different cards, all these different holdings on the board, you're going to have covered. And then we're going to go to my number 1 favorite, which happens to be the largest combination of straights that you can have, which is 7-6 suited. You have all of these different straight combinations here that will get you to where you beat the aces. And that's what you want. You want to have something that gives you a lot of boards. So 7-6 is right in the middle of all the cards. And so you're going to hit a ton of flops. You're going to have a lot of equity. You know, I've actually toyed around the old school way and ran it out. And a lot of times you have a monster amount of equity against aces when you hit the flop, the turn. So then you have something to look forward to all the way to the river. So that's the good thing with these hands. Now, the other thing to keep in mind are the flush outs. All these hands. Now, granted, you could have any hand suited and potentially beat aces, but these ones have the capability of a lot of different things. 2 pairs, trips, you know. Imagine you have 7-6 suited and you flop trips. I mean, you're going to probably bust the aces because why are they going to think you have trip sevens or trip sixes? So these are hands that you want to play against these hands. Now, you don't want to go too much, like you're not going to call an all in or anything like that. These are hands that you're going to want to see flops with for cheap. So for example, you open a pot, they have aces, and they decide to 3-bet you. A lot of time, you're going to want to call the 3-bet here because if you do hit, you're going to take their chip stack or you're going to take a lot of it. And they're easy to get away from. These hands are very easy to get away from if you don't hit the flop. Whereas, for example, you'll take hands like king-queen or ace-king or something. Imagine you hit your king, or in the case of king-queen, you hit your queen. How are you going to get away from that? Especially if you don't know 100% that they have aces, you can never know 100%, but you can always have the hunch. But if you don't know 100%, you're never getting away from top pair, or in a lot of cases, you're not going to. So these hands are very safe to play, and there's a lot of rewards. So low risk, high reward. Typically, it's not going to cost you a lot of money to see it through the hand. So that's the best thing. Like I said, these are going to be my top 3. I would love to hear what your top 3 hands are for cracking aces. So go ahead and add in the comment section so that we can go ahead and see what your favorites are. So thank you for tuning in for this week's episode. We're going to be going over some other strategies for you as far as playing this great game of No Limit Texas Hold'em. Stay tuned. Go ahead and like and subscribe. Have a good one, guys.